All right, you're listening to the Shuttlecock podcast. My name is Aaron Rhodes, and we're sponsored by the Vinyl Underground at 7th Heaven, offering new and used vinyl at 76 Introduced in Kansas City, Missouri. This week on the show, we have Jass. We're doing a new recording. We messed up the first one. I messed up the first one. I don't know. It got messed up. How you doing?
Doing great. Happy
Awesome.
to be
Yeah.
here.
So we were just in the middle of the first few minutes of talking. I will catch everyone up so we don't have to have the same exact conversation. You're from Kansas City, Missouri. You've been playing music for a long time. You play piano, viola, saxophone. You're learning bass right now, and you sang in choir growing up and have gone on to sing solo. You released your album at the close of a decade last year, and where exactly what were we in the middle of when the call
we were writing at the close of the decade in my
right.
family. I was just talking about how I had sent the songs to my family members and my friends that I just wanted to hear feedback on. It wasn't for any purpose or anything like that, but they encouraged me to put a collection together and actually release it. And so when I got the okay from them, mostly my son and my grandmother, I talked to them about it because I wanted them to like it a lot, and they told me to just put it out, so I put it out.
Oh, yeah, I'm glad you did. And so the album includes a lot of multiple like samples from movies, and I think they're all like late 90s, early 2000s, right?
Yes.
Why did you pick the specific like movies to sample, and what made you want to put that on the album?
So originally I did Just for Ride, which was the sample for that one was Love Don't Cost a Thing. And no, I'm sorry. Ride was Love Jones. My apologies. But it was just an idea for that one. But then the more I thought about it, and I thought about all of the things I was influenced by, like even though the experiences and the songs maybe I've gone through in a roundabout way, I witnessed them on TV first. I witnessed somebody getting their heart broken in a way and getting over a situation, or just like the different scenarios that were touched on. But one of my favorites was Play Your Cards, because my favorite movies, I love the Dark Knight trilogy. And so Play Your Cards had the Joker scene on there. And I felt like when I found that one, I was like, I have to find, like, all of these songs could have a scenario that could spark an emotion, or spark a scenario that's similar to what the vibe of the song is.
No, yeah, and it's kind of funny. Like, I don't know if this thing I worked on will ever like fully like get made or released or anything, but like I don't know. I didn't used to do a lot of like what you could call creative writing. I used to do just like a lot of like straight journalistic stuff, and that's my main thing. But what I really got into, like, just watching, like, I've always enjoyed movies, but like I would find like a director I liked and watch all of their movies and stuff, and like kind of get into some of the more classic stuff. And like I happened to like want to do creative writing as I was doing this, and like pulling like the imagery like from some of the movies I was watching was like a good like jumping off point for me to like do my own writing. So do you find like a lot of inspiration from like watching movies, and is that like kind of
It is, yes. It's actually funny. Sometimes when I have like a writer's block, or not even if I'm writing intently, like I just want to write a song, I'm in the mood to write something. If I watch a movie, I will mute the movie like song that's playing, and I'll try to write a song to the actual, because that's one of my goals in music. I want to like have a movie and my song play in the background, like that. I think that would be super cool. So I definitely draw from those moments and like kind of put it into my own writing.
Oh yeah, and you mentioned on the Culture Talks podcast that you want to have a song in Insecure at some point. So
yes, and this is the final season.
Yeah, no, hopefully it can happen. Um, are there any like specific like directors or genres or anything that are like particular favorites of yours, or is it kind of like an eclectic mix?
No, not necessarily. Just because what I watch is so broad, I would hate to box myself. You know, I write a lot of different songs. Like I think as I become more comfortable, like sharing those one-off songs that maybe doesn't fit in a project, you know, loosies and stuff like that here and there, I think people will like see we're gonna get an array of jazz in this lifetime. So when I am in these, but I want to, you know, get into. I've been watching Mindhunter, and like I play the keyboard, so I'll like even do the background, like like spooky part.
Yeah,
So
yeah, no, it's
yeah.
fun. So another thing, well, yeah, I guess we can just branch off from the album because okay, so you put it out in like November 2019 on SoundCloud at first, and
Yes.
but you eventually at some point in 2020 you like reworked some of the songs and the production and stuff and re-released it. So what kind of prompted the whole, like what made you want to kind of re-release it and work on the songs again, and how that process turned out?
Absolutely. The first time I released it, it was more so, like I said, for me and my family. It was like, okay, I did it, so I'm going to do it, and then I did it. So when I wanted to rework it, a friend of mine was like, "You should do it on the anniversary of it," and I'm like, "That's a great idea." So when I went to the drawing board, I wanted things to sound a lot better because the first time I recorded it using my Apple headphones and my iPad on GarageBand. And since then, I had gotten a new mic. So, like, some of the vocals were changed, and I still wanted to have that feel that it had the first time because I really liked what I did the first time. I just wanted it to sound cleaner in some areas, and then just shoot my shot at and at producing a lot of the songs because I knew that some of those songs were written without beats. Like I did find a lot of the beats from YouTube. I would just go type in a beat and then just start writing from it. But some of them I was just doing. So the ones that I wrote by themselves mostly, I was like, okay, I can house this better because I know that I pushed this song into this beat because I want it flowed, but there is also another way that I'd like it to go. So I think that was what encouraged me to rework a lot of the songs, but I still kept the flair. You know, a lot of the vocals are still the same.
Yeah. And is all of the like the instrumentation and the production on the album, is it all handled by you, or did you bring in
Not all.
any players?
No. So the some of the instrumentation is me, but it's not all live. Like I'll use like an interface or something like that to mimic a keyboard sound. And I won't use an actual keyboard, or I'll take a bass sound, just because like at the time my bass. I still need to get some strings worked out. So like it wasn't as clean. Like some things I did do on mine, but it was easier to do it on GarageBand. I'm still like GarageBand dial.
Yeah, because no, I was like very impressed with the, like I haven't heard the original version, but just like listening to the new version, I was really impressed by just the whole kind of production and how kind of crisp and smooth everything sounded. Because I like they're probably like, I'm sure there are like tons and tons of people making R&B in Kansas City, but like I think it's rare that something has production that kind of like I feel like can stand up to a lot of national releases. So I was excited to hear that.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
So I think I listened to it for the first time after watching the Coop Sessions video that you did, and I recognized Julia from Lava Dreams in playing in
Yes.
your backing band. Who else was playing with you in that session?
Yes, Brooke, who was on drums, and then also Lex, Lisa's. She does photography and she does some singing of her own, and she plays the bass as well.
Yeah, the session turned out great, I think. Is that kind of like going to be your band moving forward, or was that kind of just for the one session?
We did some stuff that COVID made things really hard. As far as like the frequency and how often we were able to get together and actually do things. So I would love, going forward for it to be a possibility, but we're all like just a little bit further apart just because of the situation.
Yeah. So I know in the last year or so you did one of the Soul Sessions shows, and
I did.
also you opened for Tink.
Think, yes.
Tell me a little bit about how both of those shows went.
Actually, Tink came by way of the Soul Session show. So I performed at Soul Sessions, and the promoter that was there, he asked if I was interested in doing that. And at the time, like I don't know, it may sound crazy, but I just didn't even think that was a possibility. Like I did know she was coming into town, but I don't know how openings go and things like that. But I was really thrilled for it. So I was invited to do that, and that experience was great. It was a socially distanced concert, and it was a lot of fun. There were a lot of local artists that I got to see that I wasn't familiar with before, but all the performances were great. And it got a little chilly later in the evening, but it was a lot of fun though, and she did a great job too.
That's great. Yeah, because obviously I didn't make either of those shows myself, but I feel like you just kind of like almost came out of nowhere, just in my world, at least in the last like 6 months with all the album and the session videos and everything. So had you performed solo much like before last year?
Not really. So I did open sessions, which
Mm-hmm.
was at Cafe Gratitude, and also the Buffalo Room
Mm-hmm.
previously. And that was like one of my first times being able to perform my own original work. I had done soul sessions before, just, signing up and doing like the open mic scene. But after I dropped at the close of a decade, the first time in 2019, that's when I started performing. So I did kind of come out of nowhere. I just, was like, hey, here's my music. And oh, thanks. I'll get up on stage and perform. So it's been a lot of fun though. It's definitely been a lot of fun.
Yeah, because how would you say that like you like did you have a lot of connections like in kind of the whole local music scene before you started like performing and releasing stuff, or were you kind of just on the outside before?
Just on the outside really, but I had a lot of people that I knew that were doing music. When I started my stuff, I did it all like by myself initially. I had help from Sachi of the Goonies. He helped me like get things like tune. I would send him tracks and stuff like that from my iPad, and then he would send it back and say, hey, this is what I hear, and things like that. But I didn't tap on anybody because it was like something I was hoarding to myself. Honestly, I didn't even know if I was gonna do it. Like, and then my mom's like, hey, where are we at with this? And so it wasn't that I felt like I had connections. I think that I had just kind of had relationships with people. And then when they were like, oh, you do music? Like, oh, okay, let's try this out. And I think from there, it just I started to become a part of the community, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, and you also did a live stream recently. It was called Butterflies Can Walk, and
Yeah.
it's a poetry collection you're putting out.
It is. It's a poetry and lyric collection that I'm putting out. So last year I had a lot of hopes to release a project. I had an EP that I put on SoundCloud called April Showers, and my goal was to do Mayflowers with a whole bunch of songs that I had worked on that didn't make it to at the close of a decade, and that I had worked on after even releasing it. And like life just got really crazy, with COVID, and I was in school full time at the time. I'm part time now, but and then teaching and working from home. So I had to put it on hold, but I kept writing, throughout the year. I said, okay, I'll put it out. And then I had like this odd moment. I was sitting outside and I saw like a butterfly walking on the ground, and I never I can't say that I hadn't seen a butterfly walk before, but it just was different in that moment. I just like looked at it differently. I was like, it reminded me that I even though I want to do something really fast, I want to put something out and like, hey, you like this, maybe you'll like these. I have to take my time. So I'll be releasing Butterflies Can Walk very gradually throughout this first kind of quarter of the year to share the collection of songs that I wrote, songs and poems that I wrote last year.
Nice. And so what was the live stream kind of like?
The live stream was me previewing all the new music and then doing some old favorites as well. I did Butterflies Can Walk. I wrote the poem very shortly after seeing that. And then I just I had a few jam sessions, like a lot of the songs were jam sessions. And then I just recorded them. And so I just shared it with people who wanted to see, a preview of what it would be. But I'll be releasing the book. There'll be a book and an option to hear the poems or the songs as they're played or performed or read.
Yeah, cool. And yeah, so I guess you've done some of the like the Coop session, and you did this live stream on your own, and obviously you have some experience like doing like kind of concert setting stuff. So are you like, how do you personally feel about like doing like virtual performances? Because like a lot of people I know like don't really have taste for it.
Yeah, it's different. It's definitely different. When I was doing Butterflies, I had my close friends around, people that are, always around, but their energy was great. I love, that engagement part of it, but I don't think I've had to, other than like recording videos and things like that, do anything virtual and alone. I think that would be an odd thing. I wouldn't prefer to do it that way, but I do miss it performing in front of people because I just started, and it was getting fun. It's like, oh man, we have to adjust. But I think that I've seen the way that people with means are able to, kind of create a whole performance out of it. And I think that that's when you get to be creative and sorry, I had an incoming call, but when you get to be creative and create the space, that's why I try to make it as homey as possible. Like what it looked like on that set was what it looks like at my house. Like when I'm recording, all of those things are around me. Oh my goodness. So sorry.
Do you need to send a text or something?
My grandma doesn't have a cell phone.
Oh man. I'll call
her back. But no, it just that's how it looked around me. So while I wanted it to be a comfortable space for me, I feel like with more, I feel like I could get used to virtual performances.
Oh yeah. So you also did. Well, Crystal wrote about. Yeah, I mentioned she wrote about your album on the Mana Records blog, and you guys also appeared together in that By Design magazine issue with Macy also.
Yes.
Yeah, what was I haven't been able to get a copy of that yet. What was that setup kind of like? Was it kind of just like a joint interview and photo session?
The photo session was joint. It was myself, her, Crystal, and Love Macy, and we all did the photo shoot together, but the interview was separate. Crystal and I, we have mutual friends, and so we connected with a mutual friend, someone she grew up with is one of my closest friends. So when she found out I was doing music, she really just was like, hey, we have to do something together. And we made sure we did. I performed with her on streaming she did for, oh goodness, I cannot remember.
Was that the Green Line?
Green Line, yes. Yeah. Green Line Initiative, yes. I accompanied her in her performance with that. And then I also did Blue Magic was a song and a video that she released, and she allowed me to be a part of the video. So we definitely had some fun on the shoot. You have to see the photos. I'll have to shoot you some photos of the mag.
Oh yeah, I'll have to. I'm sure I can order one somewhere. I'll have to track that down. I think I missed a couple of things that I did want to get to before the Where'd it go? Sorry.
All right.
No, yeah. So we were kind of talking about like the different connections you have in the music scene at this point, but did you have any like kind of favorite local artists before you started kind of performing for yourself?
Yes, I definitely was a fan of Crystals.
Mm.
I really, really enjoyed G Watt's music. He actually was very influential for me releasing music too, because he gave me a shot. I did some stuff in the studio with him a while back for an older project he did. But let's see who else I could think of. Love Macy. And I love like Kai Colors. He's a great artist. And also Southside Dame and I, J Soul. Those are a few of my faves, Casey faves.
Nice. No, and
Ashawn is
oh yeah, it's great. Sorry again. No, in the Culture Talks interview, you also touched on some of your favorite artists growing up, and you ended up talking about well, you ended that kind of segment by talking about different actors and stuff, but you touched on Stevie Wonder and Nina Simone early on. So I guess I wanted to know a little bit more about like what you admire about their work.
Mm-hmm. Stevie Wonder is probably one of my all-time favorites. I really admire his songwriting, and his piano playing is just unmatched, honestly. And I love all of the work that he's done. I like when you hear people say like he can't miss, he hasn't missed. Like I've never heard a Stevie Wonder song I didn't like, like at all. But I listened to him early on. My dad played him in the car. My aunt played him in the car. Everybody knew that I loved him. I got to see him. Yeah. When he came to the Starlight Theater, I think I was around like 12 or 13, and I was in the third row. And I mean, I was just crazy because it was, my mom said, you know, you can either go to the Scream Tour, and the Scream Tour consisted of like Bow Wow, Omarion and B2K at the time, or she's like, or I can get you tickets to Stevie Wonder. And so I was like, okay, that's definitely a no-brainer, but I went to the Scream Tour every year up until that point. So it was like a little thing. But when I went, I still had the same energy that I would have had at the Scream Tour, and other people around, like it's at the Starlight Theater. They're like, what's going on with this?
Like, yeah, this isn't a boy band. What are you doing?
Stop screaming at Stevie. Like, I'm sorry. But Nina Simone, just such an inspiring individual. Like I just will watch her performances on YouTube or oh goodness, I can't remember what the other video streaming platform is that I use, but she just has a presence that I can't quite explain, but it's an essence about her. And she's very, very just, you feel that she's being honest and very genuine with her work. I think that's what I appreciate about her the most. Like she's going to give you everything that she got in the moment, and it's going to stick, you know? So I love her music, and I love her tone, and I love her voice. When I was younger, I've always kind of had a deeper voice. I've always had, you know, like a chill kind of voice, but her, Anita Baker, Toni Braxton, they were just like women that still sang with as much power and I don't know, influence as people who had higher ranges and could, you know, go up there. And I just thought that was so powerful. I was very inspired by it. So she's definitely someone that I looked up to, and I still do.
Oh yeah, to touch on the Stevie Wonder show again real quick though.
Mm-hmm.
No, I got to see him at the Sprint Center.
Mm-hmm.
Like it would have been at least 5 or so years ago, but he was playing Songs in the Key of Life like front to back, and that
Mm-hmm.
was really great. And it was the night the Royals like headed to the World Series for like the first time in forever. Like they won the pennant that night, and Janelle Monáe was also there and like got on stage and like did like the last song with him, and that was awesome. And it was really weird because I didn't have like, well, I was just like, I've always kind of obsessed over live music. And when I think I was still in like high school or community college when that show happened, and I didn't have like a lot of extra money. So I just went to see if I could get like a cheap ticket from someone outside of that show. I was just kind of standing around, and some guy just like walked up to me and like handed me a ticket. He's like, "Hey, my family couldn't make it. Do you want to come in with me?" And I just like hung out with this like 50-year-old dude the whole time, and he had like he had like 4 seats, and it was like one of the weirder, cooler concert memories I have. And yeah, Stevie live is amazing. So I think that's like
like that to me, but it was John Mayer. I love John Mayer. Yes,
he's talented. He's great. But yeah, I think anyone listening, whoever gets the opportunity to see Stevie Wonder, should not skip that. And I can imagine your mom was probably like kind of proud of you, kind of happy that you chose the Stevie concert over Bow Wow.
Not for her wallet, but definitely for the experience.
That's great. So yeah, I guess I just wanted to touch on real quick, is you have the Butterflies Can Walk that's coming soon. You're going to be rolling that out slowly. Is there anything else you're working on right now, like any collaborations or anything that you want to talk about?
Actually, yes. Effie, who is a singer here in Kansas City, she's amazing as well. She and I have a song that we did. It's called Not Mine. We'll be working on a video and song rollout here soon. And then Adita, who's also a wonderful singer here locally. We have a song that we worked on kind of around the same time as the Wasteland Sessions. And so I can't wait to see what comes of that. It's the Wasteland Sessions, I was a part of that, and I got to record a couple of songs for them. So definitely those things are coming here soon whenever they release. But I know that, I apologize, the FE project, that'll come out here within the next couple of months. And yes.
Did FE do like a live stream? Like, were you, I feel like I remember seeing something about a live stream there, and were you part of that too?
Yes, she did a birthday show at Soiree, and I was a part of that. Yes, myself, Ronnie Marcellus, who's also the artist here, and Adita, she sang as well.
Nice. Oh yeah, and I got an invite, and I didn't end up going just because I'm like nervous about COVID and stuff. But tell me about the Wasteland Sessions.
Absolutely. Wasteland Sessions. There were a few producers that went up, and they had a lot of beats they were playing, and then a lot of artists. And I know that people came like staggered. There were artists that were already recording, but I think it was a great idea. Everybody kind of had their mask on, and it was a nice, fun atmosphere. I personally haven't been in like a writing or creative session like that before, being a newer artist, but it was fun. Like everything was really fast paced. It was like, okay, this beat is playing. It's pretty similar to they said that they modeled it after the gentleman who came up with like the Dreamville sessions. Like it was a lot of fun in seeing people record, but it was also like, okay, I write a little bit slower sometimes. Like sometimes things come a little bit faster and sometimes slower. So it was definitely an experience to get used to, being around people that are recording as well, because we're all writing and we're like, okay, what may fit and what may not fit with the vibe of the song. But it was a lot of fun, definitely. And I think they plan on doing it again as well.
Yeah, I imagine it's like kind of fun and probably rewarding, like switching up the setting and like having like a different like added pressure on something creative you're doing.
Absolutely. It's a nice mind training thing,
Yeah.
That makes sense.
But yeah, I guess we can wrap up real quick and let people know where they can find you on social media and also listen to the album.
Absolutely. I can be found on all social media platforms at Jass R Couch, JASS R Couch, like the one you sit on. And the link is in my bio on Instagram as well as Twitter. But I can be found on all streaming platforms under Jass, and you can type in At the Close of the Decade and stream my music there. And also SoundCloud if you want to hear the originals and compare them to the new ones, or if you want to hear April Showers. It's all there.
Sweet. Yeah, and people can follow at Shuttlecock Mag on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Shuttlecockmusic.com is the website. Shuttlecockmag.bigcartel.com is the web store. There's t-shirts, photo zines, and buttons. But yeah, thanks again for being on the show today. It was a lot of fun.
For inviting me. Yes, I appreciate it.
Of course. Cool. I'll stop.